It has been 1 year since Marissa Roque was shot and killed in front of her children outside of her home, police say, at the hands of her abuser.
By telling Maria's story, you will see why law enforcement isn't getting orders to stay away into the hands of abusers. Marissa Perlman is always investigating and has how this goes beyond just a piece of paper.
This process is called service. Law enforcement has to physically hand over a court order to an accused abuser, telling them to stay away from their victim. But our investigation found that's getting done at a terrifyingly low rate. Here's why that's important. Without getting served, abusers can't be arrested for violating the order, leaving victims vulnerable to continued violence. Marissa Roque's kids, Arabelle and AJ, hold on to each other and loved ones tight at their mom's grave. It's been 1 year since they could last feel her hug. You can see how they remember her, mother, sister, always caring and always loved, and now forever missed.
Amen.
At just 9 and 13, they witnessed what no child should see. Their mother ambushed, shot and killed on the steps of their home. AJ rushed to help.
He's angry the fact that he couldn't save her. He couldn't do anything. And, you know, seeing her on the floor and trying to do CPR is like, it's a big drama for him.
Andres is angry too. Marissa was his twin sister.
I've been getting like flashbacks.
Angry nothing has changed for thousands of women just like her, fighting for safety from abuse. Maria's ex-boyfriend, Kenneth Brown, sits in jail charged with murder. He may have been the one holding the gun, but Andres blames others for Maria's death too.
I think they just didn't do the work.
5 weeks before she was killed, Marissa got this emergency protection order against Brown, accusing him of abuse. It didn't help. The Cook County Sheriff's Department tried but didn't serve Brown this order, which said he had to stay away or he'd be arrested. Without that protection, Marissa reported the violence continued.
Do you feel like Marissa was failed?
Yeah. And I know she's not the only one. There's a lot of people.
Obviously, we feel absolutely horrible. We feel horrible not just for the obvious reasons this poor woman was murdered in the system, just failed.
We took Maria's story to Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart. His department is in charge of this process. Our investigation found the vast majority of domestic abusers are not being given orders telling them to stay away.
Our department is doing as well as it can with what we have to work with.
Long before we talked to the sheriff, we got this. It's his own department's data. We wanted to know how often what happened to Marissa happens to others when accused abusers are not served, not given their court order to stay away. The data you see covers 3 years, every case representing someone trying to get protection, a staggering 77,000 orders. But the Sheriff's Department served only about 19,000, just 25%. That's according to a CBS data team analysis. How do you feel about hearing that number, that just 25%?
I would have to look at that data that you have there. Anytime that we don't have service, we're obviously quite upset about that.
Again, we're looking at the sheriff's data. Dart says they often don't have good addresses to find the abusers. In Maria's case, we got this Sheriff's Department document showing they did try tracking Brown, but the door was locked, so they left. The sheriff has an idea for getting past locked doors.
I think we should be given more authority to maybe go into houses, similar to arrest warrants and search warrants and things like that.
His office made a second unsuccessful attempt to serve Brown. Then it was Marissa herself who got it done. Andre said she called a relative who got him to show up in court. That's where he was finally served the emergency order after 3 long weeks.
We don't ask survivors to interact with the abusers ever.
But it's still happening. Accused abusers are being served when they show up in court, whether a survivor gets them there or they have another case. To show you how often, we had to analyze another set of data. We got these court records. You're seeing thousands of emergency protection orders just like Maria's. Our analysis found almost 11,000 cases where the emergency orders had to be served in open court. That's because law enforcement didn't get it done.
Ever since my sister passed away, I've been seeing like people reaching out and be like, they still haven't served my abuser, and they, like, I don't know, what to do.
This isn't something where we're running around saying, we have all the answers, we don't need anyone else's help. No, the contrary. We need other law enforcement agencies to help us.
And they could. Here's how. When a protection order is granted, it goes into a statewide police database called Leads. Any officer from any department who comes across an abuser, like during a traffic stop, can serve them. Andres now wants the local police departments and the sheriff's department to work together to stop abusers.
And I just feel like they should be more connected.
Here's what happened to Maria as she waited for the sheriff's department to serve Brown. She got more harassing calls, texts, her windows broken, tires slashed, and this on her birthday last year, her car set on fire. She filed 5 Chicago police reports in 2 weeks.
If there's no order of protection and an abuser slashes someone's tires, breaks someone's window, last I checked, that's a crime.
Look here. Chicago police saw Maria's protection order had not been served. They could have questioned Brown. More importantly, after each crime, they could have served him the court order. Instead, they suspended the case. More missed opportunities just weeks before Maria was killed.
I feel like you letting someone go, they're just treating it like a paper, just like it doesn't matter. And I feel like it should matter.
All right.
Police didn't find Brown to serve him.
I just gotta pat you down real quick, okay?
They also didn't find him to arrest him.
All right, I'm good.
You're watching Brown turn himself in after Maria's murder.
All right, he's in custody.
I just hope this makes like the system better. It makes them think, okay, we felt really bad, let's work this out, let's do something different. But I feel like it's still the same.
I used to be a prosecutor. I can tell you this system hasn't changed a heck of a lot since the 80s and 90s.
Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah, you think about it. We all have basically computers in our pockets. We have the ability to track, it seems, virtually anything, whether or not your package is being delivered or not. But yet somehow we can't find these people. And so it is wildly frustrating.
What I'm hearing from you, too, is that there's not a solution right now that you have at your fingertips.
No, there isn't. I mean, to be honest with you, I wish there was. I wish I could sit there and say, if just this one thing were to change, or this one bill, things like that.
Whose job is it then to come up with this solution then? Is it your job?
Well, I would suggest to you that I am hampered by the law in the sense that I can't kick in doors and I can't burst into office buildings and things like that.
They should have a solution. They should be like, hey, let's stop this.
Not having a solution is a harsh reality for Andres, AJ, and Arabelle. They hope for a system-wide fix to find abusers, so other kids don't have to visit their mom at a gravesite.
If we have another chance to save someone else, then I know she will want that.
Maria's children continue to grapple with their new lives, living with other family members, going to new schools. Andres filed a complaint with the Chicago Police Department for how officers handled Maria's numerous reports. That case is ongoing, according to the department. They declined to answer our questions about their failures. Sheriff Dart says the 3-year service rate doesn't show how often other police agencies serve accused offenders. So his department looked at selected months from this year and found just half of accused abusers are served. That's from the sheriff and all other police departments in Cook County.
Our thanks to Marissa for that story. You can see how often service is getting done correctly in your community. We have that information on CBSChicago.com.